I want to pose a scenario to y'all. Can you imagine being born into the world where you already have experienced abuse? Your mother was being beat while she was carrying you. Davontae Sanford's mother would go on to put on record that by the fourth time his father had assaulted her while she was pregnant, he hospitalized her, and then she pressed charges. He got jail time subsequently after that. So that was Davontae Sanford's introduction into the world. By the time he was 6 years old, he would wake up to a house fire. You know, the house is engulfed in flames. His mother found him hiding in the closet. At 7 years old, he got into it with a young boy at school. The young dude threw an egg at him. The eggshell scratched his eye real bad, cut his eye real bad. So after 12 hours of surgery, Davontae Sanford would end up blind in his right eye. Now, school officials would say that he was emotionally, as well as otherwise, disadvantaged and had disabilities. By the time he was 11 years old, he had already had 2 brush-ins with the law, right? And his mother tried to commit him to juvenile courts. However, he didn't have a record. And that would change in 2007. In September of 2007, there was a massacre on Runyon Avenue. 4 people got killed, right? You got 4 individuals in what some people saying was a drug house, an alleged drug house. Now, 14-year-old Davontae Sanford didn't stay far from that drug house. And police would find him not long after this murder, right? The murder went down where the 4 individuals who were killed, I want to give respect to those people. And I don't want to butcher their names, so I wrote them down. With 33-year-old Michael Robinson, 25-year-old Nicole Chapman, D'Angelo McNoriel, and Brian Dixon, both in their early 20s. And surviving would be Valerie Glover, who I'm not sure of her age. They didn't give her age. And a 7-year-old boy who went unharmed. Now, Valerie Glover was shot as well. She survived, though. The 7-year-old, they didn't touch him. Now, police testified that Davontae confessed that him and his friends, a group of friends, 4 of them, all went and took guns and to plot to go rob this drug house. But when they got in there, things went left and they killed everybody instead. And this was the 14-year-old allegedly told the police. Me and him and his friends, we going to get this money out this dope house. Now, when we get in there, we all strapped anyway. They say he had what? M14. That's what they said he was toting, and that's what he did the shooting with. What actually they found out later was a 38 and an AK-47 that was used in committing the crime. Now you're talking about a 14-year-old who's already had a traumatic life up to this point. Brush-ins with the law. Mother wanted to commit him to the state. They saying he was incorrigible, developmental, and on the emotional and the educational level. Ridiculed, possibly. I'm pretty sure, you know how mean kids are. You got a right eye that's scarred and it's obviously disfigured. Kids probably blazing you, you know what I mean? Like it's nothing, you know, like it's no tomorrow. Now, this subsequently ended up with false testimony. Several days of interrogating this young man, right? And then he confessed, allegedly. Now, 9 years, because they convicted Davontae Sanford of those murders, right? He did 9 years in prison. 9 long years as a juvenile. And it wasn't until Vincent Smothers, a known hitman. Now, Vincent Smothers' story go briefly like this. Vincent had confessed to 8 murders. The most high-profile murder was the murder of a police officer. I want to say it was a chief. The police chief's wife was murdered. by Vincent Smothers. Now, of course, they gave him all day, which in Michigan terms mean life in prison. However, there's a twist of the story on how Vincent Smothers and Devonta came together. Vincent Smothers said, "Hey, that young boy, because this was a high-profile case. You got to understand, this is a 14-year-old, and it's all over the news because he was wandering in the area right by the house. Now, not to mention, everybody knew him for making these elaborate stories up that possibly weren't true. So you grab this young boy, you put him into custody, you interrogate him for all these days, you falsely, you butcher his statements and coerce him into pleading guilty. You give him time in prison, right? 9 years he spent. Vincent's mother say, hold on, I'm the one who killed those people. This is what I do. That's my MO. That's what type of weapons I use. I whack those people. It wasn't this young 14-year-old kid. Why y'all doing this to him? Now they go back and forth in courts until judge had enough. And in 2016, well, the courts had enough because, come on now, you didn't exhaust it. Not to mention they already had said the boy, once Vincent Smothers pled guilty to those crimes, it's supposed to have been a rap, right? You would have thought in essence it was a rap, but it wasn't. They played with his life for quite a few more years after that. It wasn't until 2016 until the court said enough is enough, and they finally exonerated him and released him. Now, it was big news. I'm talking about when I started counting on YouTube and media outlets how many times a video was posted about Davontae Sanford, about him catching the case, and potentially about him getting released. You talking about, I lost count at 30 something, right? And that's just the videos. On the actual Google search, you talking about probably just as many. The first story I ever seen about the reparations this young brother received was through Metro Detroit News on Instagram. Metro Detroit News said Davontae Sanford received $7.5 million because Michigan finally passed the what is the name of this damn thing? It is it's the Wrongful Imprisonment Act, right? So the Wrongful Imprisonment Act compensates you $50,000 a year for every year you were incarcerated. You talking about 9 years? It's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread. Not to mention everything else that came along with his lawsuit, right? I'm pretty sure it's a lot more. That's why that amount is so large. But why weren't people talking about this enough? Why so much energy around, okay, the boy got captured, the boy got locked up, the boy doing this much time? Everybody talking about it. Everybody was talking about, oh, he's going to finally get out, this, that, and the other. But why nobody really mentioned nothing when this boy got his money? I seen it once after that on the local news station. Why is it so hard to celebrate a real win amongst people, especially those who were formerly incarcerated? I see them in the news, right? Here and there. The problem with that is it's just like a lawsuit, an actual lawsuit where you plan with people's lives already, and now you know they deserve this money, and years and years and years go by, and you still haven't given people some money. You got about $9 million, I think they're saying, still just in limbo from people who were exonerated who haven't got their money yet. Dozens of cases that went by. I mean, you got to think, right? Let me see what it says, right? By the year of 2020, they said they were broke and they couldn't pay people off. It's a tragedy, right? Because one thing we know for certain is that the federal government gives every state, or however they make up that money, they give money to take care of inmates. They get money to feed you. They get money to clothe you. They get money for medicine for you. They get money for all your amenities, right? They even have a prison inmate benefit fund, whereas money goes into that so that when inmates want to have luxuries or they feel like, okay, we deserve this because we've been a stellar prison, our numbers are down as far as assaults and tickets and all these type of things, right? Now, they do not compensate these individuals at a fast enough pace especially the way that they end up sending you to the prison. They so quick to lock you up, throw away the key, overcharge you for commissary, overcharge your family for phone calls, overcharge for every damn thing. The commissary markup is ridiculous, right? The old cheap shoes that they selling you for $30, $40, that's probably take $2, $3 to manufacture. They quick. The judicial and legislative system is quick to lock you up and throw away the key, to put you in a pigeonhole, to put you in a box in a category, make you a statistic, right? On paper, when you're wrong or right, whether you're wrong or right, right? Because we know plenty of cases where they had to let people go. But when it's their time to pay back up, look how long they take to pay people. Why is that? Where's all the money going? Huh? Where's all the money going? We can get into that, right? We can get into that, but that's not my job here. My job is to celebrate this young brother's win. And it's kind of bittersweet because he had a large portion of his life. And I don't think, if somebody told me, look, bro, go do 9 years and then we give you $7.5 million. Ain't nowhere in the world. I'm straight. Because I don't need that much money to be happy, bro. I ain't never seen $1 million. You understand what I'm saying? And I've been happy. And I'm happy right now. I have my moments, like everybody else, where I get down about certain things that I can't control. Right? That's my own thing I'm working on. But my thing is, I don't need that much money to live. So I'm pretty sure it's bittersweet that, yeah, I got $7.5 million. After taxes, they're going to take some of that. But the point is, I had to go through all of this turmoil. It's bad enough when you're guilty and you in that bad boy. Well, imagine 9 years and you ain't did nothing. You're not wrong. You have done nothing wrong but be in the area and the vicinity and have a developmental problem that the police manipulated and took advantage of, and finally say, okay, we got our man. We got us a conviction. Let's go. Let's send him upstate and run these numbers up for these people so we can get more money. It's a numbers game, and we know that. It's a numbers game because it's a money game. So why not pay these brothers and these sisters when they get out and they've been wrongly convicted? Give them their money. Give them their money. Not just that, media outlets. I know how it's so sensational to cover all the gory stuff, right? The problematic stuff, the stuff wrought with drama. But what about celebrating these individuals when they get their bread? I only seen it one time outside of Metro Detroit News, and it was on a local media outlet, and everybody was in that boy business. Everybody was in that boy business when he got convicted, and they was thinking about letting him out. But when he got that bread, shh, crickets. You feel me? You feel me? It's a young king. It's a young king who was abused in his mother's womb and subsequently abused by life and the judicial and legislative system. And it's not fair. It ain't fair, it ain't right, and it pisses me off because it happens at such an alarming rate, and everybody want to point the finger when somebody get convicted. Everybody want to call you ex-con, you a crook, you a liar, you a criminal. You don't deserve redemption. Are you serious? Some of those same people got some of the most dark and hidden and crazy secrets. They got a freaking closet full of skeletons, right? You understand what I'm saying? Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it funky. That young brother deserved to be celebrated, so I want to shout out Davontae Sanford and his family. I pray for you, young brother, that you have a life that you can be proud of living after this, because you deserve that and more. And more. You feel me? Oh, shout out my shirt too, speaking of Kings. Kings Rising. Break the Chain. Compliments of my brother Derek Sang. Derek Sang got a deep story. My brother Derek's been through a lot. I call him Twin because he's a twin. Well, everybody call him Twin, but this is my bro. I met Derek incarcerated. Me and him had some funny stories, right? We shared some funny exchanges. We used to beef over the microwave in prison, but this dude sponsored this shirt today. He did life in prison. He was doing life in prison. Gave it back to the system. You understand what I'm saying? So I know firsthand. That's why his shirt that I'm wearing today is relevant, and his story is relevant to this Davontae Sanford story, because this brother had life in prison and gave that time back. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to let him tell his own story in the episode. As always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Give people their flowers, man. Give people their flowers because it's only right. And the more flowers you give people, right, you reap what you sow. Give a rose out, you get a bouquet, right? That's how I look at life. Another episode, Retired from the Streets TV, OG Kenny, O_G_Kenny. Loved ones, y'all have a nice week, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace and love.